Likkutei Torah, Bamidbar, page 26, like 10 lines down. Okay, now the Rabbi is explaining that the tachlis of Matan Torah is to bring down the level of Yira, and there's the level of Yira from above that comes from Hashem's perspective, then there's from our perspective, and so on. So he said, "V'zeu Yisr ma'alas nesinas haTorah liYisrael b'shas Matan Torah." This is uniqueness of what happened in Matan Torah. One of the questions Al Rebbe asked at the beginning of the Maamar was, what did the Matan Torah accomplish if the others already kept the Torah? Most of the things they had already had. Hagam ki ovis gam kin ki ma Torah. Even though the others also kept Torah, like it says by Avram, Vayishmer mishmarti shenamar mishmeres mitzvayse shleinitna adayin lahoyer ala oretz begili rava otum kshas Matan Torah. Okay, so he says like this, because what they kept the mitzvahs, there was no gilui of elokus in the world because of it. The whole purpose of Torah mitzvahs is liyiras of Shem, to affect the physical world. That didn't happen before Matan Torah. And he says, and now therefore he has also the Dvarim Pshutim, yeah? So he says one of the things of Yisirtzach is not to kill, that the will of Hashem should come down here. Even in such things like murder, which is l'chayra common sense, Matan Torah accomplished. This should be the purpose is because of the godliness in it. Liyiras Hashem. Ve'inyan le'sirtzach. What does it mean le'sirtzach? Simply means don't kill. Okay, if a person over there simply means the Torah speaks about not committing suicide. Shver dam ba'adam atzma. Meaning, there's Adam asher shafach dam ha'adam ba'adam, to spill the blood of one person to the next. So there's kedusha Adam and there's evil Adam. He says there's Adam Belial, the evil Belial in Hebrew means evil, but it's Belial without any yoke of Hashem. So they're evil. He says that's a Yetzer Hara neged Adam the Kedusha. So there's an Adam of Kedusha, and then there's Adam of Klipa, and that Adam of Klipa, right, wants to kill the Adam of Kedusha. So the Torah says, Lo Yisirtzach, the Nefesh Abamas, the Yetzer Hara shouldn't kill the Nefesh Holokis, the Yetzer Torah. B'nei Yisrael, all of a machshava. The Yidden originate, the source of the Neshama originates in a very lofty level of machshava. Therefore, when they sin, because they come from such a high place, therefore when they sin, they cause shvichas dam v'chayis adam de kedusha b'adam de klipa. Because they come from such a high place, what they do is actually spill blood of kedusha. That they shouldn't, like the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, when you have a forbidden relation, so then you're taking your chayas and you're putting into a form of klipa. He says, what does it mean don't steal? He says, he's speaking in a higher level. He says, you should be careful from being a bluffer, mitzviyasu pnias, from doing things for the wrong purpose, giving an impression of you greater than you really are. So therefore, what happened in Matan Torah? The Torah itself says lo yisirtzach. What does lo yisirtzach mean? Loshin asid. It means future. I'll explain in a sec. Future tense. That this level should never exist. Meaning like this. When the Torah says le'sirtzach, it means don't kill. But the Lashon Kodesh, sirtzach means you will not kill. It's Lashon Asid. It's future tense. So the Alter Rebbe is saying, when it says in Aseret Dibus Leisitzach Leisinov, which he explained, Leisitzach means the Nefesh Habam is killing the Nefesh Sholakis, and Leisinov means not to giving hashpah to evil and all that stuff. So the Torah is saying it should be in a permanent way. It should never be that the Nefesh Habam is killed the Nefesh Sholakis. So that's what happened in Matan Torah. It's not the concept, okay, don't kill anybody. That was before Matan Torah also. Matan Torah accomplished in Leisitzach, it's a different type of killing. We're not talking about killing a person. Shver Dam Adam B'Adam means the Nefesh Habam is the Yetzirah shouldn't kill the Nefesh Sholakis. Yetzirah Tov. What?
If the purpose is to elevate the bad, make it good. Right?
Not now. The purpose is not to elevate total bad. Total bad we cannot elevate now. A person takes a piece of chazir, makes 10 brachas on it, goes to the mikveh first, and puts on a gartel, and he makes the bracha with kavanah, and he eats it, and then he goes and davens and learns with that power of the chazir that he ate, the chazir stays chazir. He didn't elevate it. Klipas noiga, the neutral, which is evil, it's ra, that we could elevate. And again, we're not elevating the evil. We're elevating the spark of Kedusha that's in it. And because it's not bound to evil, we can elevate it. Okay? The what?
To make a chazir that is from 3D printing.
That you could eat. What?
I don't understand how it says Leisitzach means you will not kill. I don't understand the Shem.
No, he means for all times the Nefesh Habam should not kill the Nefesh Sholakis.
What's the difference between saying that you will not kill or you will not? It's like a...
You should not kill now means, but this, for all times, you shouldn't. Leisitzach in the simple sense also means for the future.
How does that change the pshat to say that it's like...
The changing of the pshat is it's not talking about physical killing of somebody. It's talking about the Nefesh Habam should never kill the Nefesh Sholakis. And you should never be mashpia, power, leisinov. You should never be give hashpah, sustenance to evil. What?
So if we're working on our own traits to kind of refine the trait to make it better, but if the trait itself is not necessarily a good trait, we are still giving it some form of sustenance in the process of refining it. How is that sustenance okay?
What are we refining?
I'm saying if there's a certain, like if we want to refine our thoughts, so we're not giving any sustenance to thoughts that are not
Right. Right.
And so throughout that process, there's some form of sustenance that still has to happen in order for the process to be able to be.
That sustenance, those coming out from Kedusha. In other words, those things that the Torah forbids now, until Mashiach, when Ruach HaTumah Avim in order, there won't be any more evil in the world. Until now, evil, the Avodah with evil is to negate it. Because evil itself, basically, has no existence. Like darkness is not in existence, a lack of light. Okay? Evil is a lack of Kedusha. Felt Kedusha. We learned in Tanya that it feels Kedusha. Obviously, it must exist in Kedusha. But as far as we're concerned, there's no open felt Kedusha there. So therefore, when a person does eat chazir, what happens is they actually strengthen the power of evil in the world. Chazir is evil. When you eat evil, you strengthen evil. If we negate evil, then evil has no sustenance, and then automatically it gets weaker and weaker and non-existent. The problem is we're feeding evil. So when you don't transgress a negative commandment, you don't bring kedusha into the world. That's why there's no bracha on a negative commandment. Because the bracha is asher kitshanu b'mitzvahs v'tzivanu, that we bring down this kedusha into melech ha'olam, into the world. Now kedusha can only be brought into the world when you do a positive action. Therefore, on positive mitzvahs, generally speaking, there's a bracha asher kitshanu b'mitzvahs, because when I do a positive mitzvah, that action is bringing kedusha revealed into the world. Or in simple English, I'm bringing kedusha into the world, i.e., it becomes revealed in the world because it's there anyway. Now, on negative mitzvahs, I'm not doing anything that's going to bring kedusha. On the contrary, I'm not doing something. So, by not eating chazan, we're not bringing kedusha into the world. All we're doing is we're not strengthening evil, and if evil doesn't strengthen itself, it automatically gets weaker. Now, there's a Gemara that says whoever keeps a negative whoever doesn't is considered as if they did an action. But that Gemara is referring to not stam. I'm sleeping 6 hours a night, so 6 hours I'm not eating chazal, so I get a mitzvah for not eating chazal. That's not what the Gemara means. The Gemara means when the opportunity arises to eat chazal, and I have a desire to eat chazal, and I don't, so then I worked with myself. So that's considered as if I did something positive. Understand? So when there's evil that's in the world, the avodah of the Jew is leisitzach, all the negative commandments that Aser Sedibris means, don't allow the nefesh habamis to kill the nefesh kids. Leisinov, don't commit adultery means don't allow, give sustenance to evil. Don't steal, means like he says, don't fool people. Don't, don't, like he says, you shouldn't do it for things for wrong reasons. So that's what it's saying. That's what the Alter Rebbe is explaining. And that's the accomplishment of Matan Torah. The accomplishment of Matan Torah that the others didn't have this level. It's a much different level. Okay, so he says now, it's similar, like the Maggid asked the question, there's a mitzvah to love Hashem, how can you command somebody on an emotion? I can command you to do something. I can say, do it. You don't want to do it, you hate it, you despise it, but you can do it. I can tell you, don't eat chazan. Okay, you love it, you could not do it. But a feeling, you either have it or you don't have it. I can't command you love God. I don't love Him. What do you want me to do? There's an on button for to love. So the Maggid explains that the mitzvah v'ahavta Hashem Elokecha is a continuation of the mitzvah Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. When a person meditates Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, all those things, v'ahavta, the Maggid says, means you will love. Because like he says, the tzivui, when it's a commanded don't v'ahavta, it means you should love, and it means you will love in the future. So what is the mitzvah v'ahavta? It's not to turn on a love button or a fear button. It's to do those things that by nature bring you intellect, stimulates emotion. So if you meditate into the greatness of Hashem, will create a love and a fear of Hashem. And that's what the mitzvah is. He said, Avol acher achet. Okay, but after the chet, that we need now our avodah is ayidei dibureinu, shanu medabim divrei Torah. When we learn Torah, because like this by Aser Sedibros, Hashem's speech purified the world already. Leisitzach means the nefesh habamis will never kill the nefesh halikis. Leisinach means you will never give. So what happens? With 40 days later, like remember, we learned Matan Torah, Pascha's Amason, Matan Torah undid Chatei Tzadas. But the problem is, afterwards the Yid made the Egel and it redid the Chatei Tzadas. It's all part of a plan, from Hashem to do this. We bring a little bit of Kedusha down, like it says, I'll put my words in your mouth, And through this, sinners and sins will perish from the earth. And therefore, it's interesting. There's a famous story in the Gemara in Brachas. The famous Rabbi had terrible neighbors. That used to bother him a lot, and he wanted to daven that they should die. So his wife Bruria said to him, David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Yitamu chatoim min haaretz, and it doesn't say chotim min haaretz. It says Yitamu chatoim min haaretz. We say in Baruch Nafshi, in Tehillim. Chatoim means sins should perish from the earth. It doesn't say sinners should perish from the earth. So Bruria said to him, why are you davening that they should die? Why don't you daven they should do tshuva? It's a famous story with the Rebbe. The Rebbe told somebody to do something. So he said to the Rebbe, please take away what you told me to do because I have a heart condition. So I can't do what you're asking me to do. So the Rebbe told him, and said to him, like, basically, you idiot. I mean, the Rebbe didn't call anybody idiots, but you idiot. You're asking me to take away what I told you to do. Why don't you ask me to take away your heart condition? And then you'll be able to do what I'm asking you to do. You're an idiot. I gave you a job, and you come along with a cop-out excuse. I can't because I have a heart condition, so take away the job. Why you ask me to take away the job? Take away the heart condition, and then you'll be able to do the job. Like, that's what Brody had said to him. Why are you davening that they should die? Davening they should do tshuva. Then, and she quoted from David HaMelech, okay, so he says, V'hinei ter shebiksav is eitz ha'chaim l'machzikim ba. V'ter sheba'al peh is called ilon de tevera. Shebei mafridin ha'tev min ha'ra. You know, there are two trees in the Gan Eden. There's eitz ha'chaim and eitz ha'das tevera. So in the Zohar it says like this: Eitz HaChaim is Torah Shebiksav. Eitz HaDas Tevera is Torah Sheba'al Peh, because Torah Sheba'al Peh figures out in Torah. It says don't do work on Shabbos. Now you have to know what's right and what's wrong and what all that. Like it's a parak, yeah? Which are the treifas of the animals and which are the, what makes an animal treifa, what makes an animal kosher. He says, when you learn it, nasa birid v'avdola bein atamei l'tar v'yispardu kopei aliyaven, and all the doings of evil stop, and kahamas deinig menesh, it's like wax melting with fire. And that was like this. Normally when you have mitzvahs, when you take a mitzvah, you take a tefillin, or you take a piece of leather, all right, and you're elevating it to kedusha. You take a lulav, you take a palm tree, and you're elevating it to kedusha. Yeah. He says the same thing is when you learn. When you learn about this animal is kosher, this animal is evil, what's the purpose of mitzvahs? To elevate and separate the good from the bad. Like we said, you can't elevate shlosh klipat meis. Mitzvahs are from klipas nega, right? You take something which is neutral, and you elevate the spark of it to kedusha. So you separate the bad from the good. The good from the bad. You take away the good, and the good goes up to kedusha, and now the evil automatically falls away. He says that's the same thing really when you learn. When you learn what's kosher and what's treif, so you're basically separating in the world good from bad. It's not as direct as taking a physical object and doing it. But when you learn Torah, it's interesting, you can even deal with shosh mitzvahs. You can even deal with liars, swindlers, thieves, lowlives, and all that stuff, and you're elevating it. Not like physical mitzvahs that you can physically elevate it to kedusha. But in a certain way, when you learn this is allowed on Shabbos and this is not allowed on Shabbos, this is kosher, this is not kosher, whatever the mitzvah is, yeah, the halacha you're learning, you're actually separating bad from good. Ad Yemesa Mashiach, this is on until Mashiach comes, Sheyav Ruach HaTumah min haaretz, that evil then won't exist in the world anymore. There won't be any evil, there's no evil. Uksiv Bayem Ha'oyi Hashem Echad U'Shmei Echad, Lemavi Echad Be'echad, which is, it becomes mamish one with one, Echad Bika Echad. V'zal mitzvah Sriya Yirah Kol Zechurcha. Gadar Shebal Yiras Kach Bal Yirois. The Gemara says, when you come to see Hashem, that's the way Hashem sees you at Yom Tov also in the Beis HaMikdash. Pirush, Hashem, what does it mean? You see Hashem, Hashem sees you. What does that mean? He says what happens then is the Jews end up with the same perspective that Hashem has. Hashem Milmaila has, He is the existence, world is nothing. Our perception is we exist, we got to think about. So what happens, right? Just like you come to see Hashem, Hashem sees you, meaning become echad be'echad, meaning we get Hashem's perspective. And that's really what happens when the Jew does Torah mitzvahs. What happens when the Jew does Torah mitzvahs? He takes his physical world that seems to be a yesh, and he makes it into Kedusha. So anytime you do a mitzvah, or for that matter, when you learn, you're actually making that our perspective is really what Hashem's perspective is, that Einaid Milvadei. That's what happens. And that's what Matan Torah accomplished. The obvious, they put on tefillin, but they did. I mean, not physical tefillin that we have. Yaakov Avinu, when he played with the colored sticks, as in Kabbalah, that was like putting on tefillin. Whatever. But that's what happened when but that's only after Matan Torah. So until Mashiach comes, our avodah is to separate good from bad. So that we do when we do mitzvahs. That's what we do when we do learning Torah. La'atid lavai, there won't be any more evil. Then it will be Hashem echad u'shmei echad. It will be openly echad be'echad. So now we're doing it mad agashenu. We're driving a little bit the evil a little bit out at a time, because every time you separate good from bad, you're getting the world ready for Mashiach. That's why is Avodah now preparation for Mashiach. It's very simple. The Avodah of Mashiach, the time of Mashiach is there's no evil anymore. So every time a Jew does a mitzvah, they're getting rid of a little bit of evil. Every time you learn Torah about kosher traits, you're separating good from bad, so you're getting rid of the evil. And lots of love, that's what it's going to actually be.